Stone. Y'all coming over here?
We need the classroom in front of the teachers. I mean, the students in
All right.
front of the teachers.
What question people at? I know we had. Okay, we got Mr. Smiley had a question, and Mr. Al had a question, and
Miss Erica.
Miss Erica got a question. All right, so we're gonna go Mr. Smiley, Mr. Al, Miss Erica. Did you have a question, Jimmy?
I did.
Okay, and Jimmy had a question. So I know those was like 4 off the top. So before I answer them, this is the main reason we do these. For one, for you to network and connect with people. Like, there's nothing like having a group of like-minded people to connect with. That's powerful. So make sure that you're connecting. The second thing is ask questions to get that fear out, because all of you guys got fear, and the reason you haven't took action for the most part is because that fear is up here. But if you come to these walkthroughs enough, you come to enough trainings, that fear starts to go down and action starts to take over.
Man.
But ask your questions though. All right.
All right. Do me one favor before you ask. Please project. The camera doesn't have to be on you when you ask. I'll keep it up here, but I need to capture your audio so it makes sense what they're answering to.
And then if you guys will work.
So I'll make sure I repeat the question too.
Yeah, that'll be perfect.
All right, Mr. Smiley.
I found a house that had forced heating air and central air. I wanted to find out exactly what is forced heating air.
All right, so the question is, what's the difference between forced heating air and central air and heat?
All right, so I'm gonna give my opinion, but I know Mr. J gonna probably give a better answer. So
We're gonna go with your answer.
no. When I hear forced air and heat,
Right.
it mean it ain't got none. It got window unit, it got something that's not central. It ain't got none. That's just my layman term.
Well, it has an HVAC unit,
Uh-huh.
but it just says forced heating air.
So most of the time I've seen it switch to where I've seen it have heat and all that there, but no HVAC. So
Or part of the house has it, the system all the way through,
and part of it don't.
Part of it don't.
Okay.
So if I hear forced, I automatically assume I need an AC unit. Mr. J, can you kind of elaborate? What's your thoughts?
That's correct. Because the force heating is just those big coils that's coming out of the floor. That's just gonna make your house hot. You know.
Okay.
Everybody needs a warm home
Right.
in the wintertime because other than that, you know what's up.
It's not nothing I don't think that you can sell or rent to somebody and say you got heat type situation. It's one of the things where you kind of need to make sure you put that in your scope of work to address that situation.
Heat is a requirement in your home. Air conditioning is not.
Yeah.
Air conditioning is a luxury.
So that,
Even though
that's
some
the
of
best
us
answer
don't
I
feel
can
like
give
it's
you.
a luxury.
That's the best answer I can give you. If it says sports, you ain't got no heat, boss.
And you might not have any ductwork either.
Oh yeah, there's ductwork there.
There is ductwork, that's a plus.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a plus.
And it might be one of them old floor units type situations. You see that in a lot of these old houses in
Where
Birmingham.
it's
Like
a furnace
it's
up
just a
under.
furnace in the floor for real. Same situation. You ain't got no heat, boss.
Yeah, so I would look at a full job as far as, are those ductworks going to all bedrooms? Is it just for one section? You know you probably gonna have to get a new, either you're gonna get a split system, you're gonna get a pack unit, but you're gonna need all new everything, not just an outside unit or not just the inside unit. You're gonna need both. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Al. Mr. Al was next. Next question.
I had 2 questions. The first one was on the paperwork for this renovation right now. It has closing costs and points at $26K plus. Said they'll receive back $15,000. Explain that.
All right. So the first.
So the question is, on the flyer that you guys got in your emails, if you signed in, you should have gotten a flyer in your email. It says that closing costs and points was $26,216, and then we'll receive back $15K. So that back is, once all renovations are complete, the lender is gonna give us back $15K of it. All lenders are different. This particular lender is a lender that does houses that does deals for $100,000 and less. Most lenders won't lend on something where the loan is less than $100,000, really less than $125,000. So with this lender, their terms are a little different. But the cool thing is, although you put up more money up front, you get money back after the renovations are done.
So is that kind of like PMI, like, but they're giving to you?
Okay, so the question was it like PMI where you're just paying for that interest up front? But no, it's basically to make sure you got skin in the game and that you got a hefty down payment, because when lenders see houses under $100,000, it's risky to them. Even though in Birmingham and cities like this, it's a deal, to them it's a major risk factor, because what they don't want is for it to come back to them and they got to do something with it. So they want to make sure that it's enough skin in the game to cover them, just in case anything happens, just in case you walk away from it, whatever. Because it's a risk factor, because the loan is so low. A lot of times, and I know you're going to say something, Tonya, a lot of times, that's not always the fact. Depending on what lender you have, you actually end up spending more money out of pocket for the cheaper houses. And you may get it back on the back end. But don't just automatically assume, okay, I'm going to look for everything with the ARV under $100,000 because it'll be less money for me out of pocket to get into the deal. That's not true. It'll actually be more money than you looking for a property with the ARV of 150 or higher.
And just to put some comparison to what she said, Mr. Chris Terrell is getting ready to buy a property in 2 days. Purchase price is 70, 75. Rehab is about 50. ARV's 190. He's bringing $9,000 to the table. So just because the property is cheaper doesn't mean it's going to cost you less money out of pocket. And I know it sounds crazy, it sounds a little backwards, but there are more people lending on properties that are $150,000 and higher from an after repair value than there are lending on these type of properties. So the lenders that do these type of properties, you just got to play by their rules.
Yeah, it's a select amount of them because of the risk factor. And I remember when we first got started, they were doing $75,000 loans all day, no money down, roll the interest into the loan, and then they were like, wait, we got too many of them coming back, so now we got to change it. And I remember we were with the lender, we had like 10 properties with them at one time, and they was like, listen, this our last one that we can do like this. Y'all got to beef up y'all numbers because this not going to work, because they're completely stopping. So some lenders don't do it at all under $100,000. Some lenders will.
Yeah. So that's if you don't take nothing else from this, just because the property is cheaper doesn't mean it's less money out of pocket. All right. Follow-up question.
That actually answered my second question.
Okay.
So, when you're looking at a purchase price of this amount in the rehab, you're going to just pay more out of pocket.
You're going to pay more out of pocket. So, and to put it kind of in a number standpoint, most lenders that play around in this low amount, they're going to want 15, 20% down. When you get to the higher amount, there's lenders that say, we don't want no down payment, just bring your closing costs. So that's where the big difference come in. This ARV, this value, you're going to put 15, 20% down, plus your closing costs. But higher properties, don't worry about the down payment, just bring me your closing costs. All right? Good, Al. Follow-up question, that was good? All right.
You good? Tell me.
There.
No, it was nothing.
Nope. I promise you, it's probably something that
always
somebody
something.
else has.
No, it really was just more about the renovation on the inside, because I was just looking at how the walls was tore down, seeing how y'all made the den into a bedroom and everything, and I was just really trying to get the whole scope of how you guys were able to go in and kind of visualize how you was going to go and add the bathroom and everything else that you was doing. So that was my thing, because this is like my first walkthrough, actually seeing it in live motion.
No, I think
That's
that was
a great question.
Third bedroom and the bathroom in this house. And I'm going to be transparent with you. We walked through it a few times. We even looked at it on the video. I think Vic did the video for it before we walked through. And it was like, okay, well, we know that there's enough square feet in the house. So we know it's a no-brainer bedroom and a second bath. Because in our eyes, that back then was I walked through one time and had an idea. When I walked through again with these two, my idea that I originally had went away. I couldn't even remember what the first idea was, and a whole new one came. So it takes walking through a couple of times, sometimes talking to your contractors. What do you think this will look like? How do you think this layout will be? I don't even know if did y'all finalize my final one? Y'all final one?
We ain't got no final one.
You don't have a final. So
We got an idea, a
the
concept.
last final that I agreed on, I don't know, it might be different. What's the final?
Actually, I always win. She always wins.
What's the last final?
Not this time.
Yeah.
You can't ask her the final because she wasn't here when you walked.
I know, but she gonna tell me, and I can say that was mine or no.
As far as what?
Where's the second bathroom gonna be?
Oh, so the second bathroom is going to be to the right of the den. So the back door is going to get closed off. It's now going to be a hallway that's in that side wall. That door that was there is going to be closed off, and your bathroom is going to be on the right side.
In the bedroom.
As
Okay.
you're walking into the bedroom.
So definitely wasn't my last idea. My last idea was coming out of this second room, making that second room the master, and building out that bathroom. But again, whatever works, it works. Don't spend too much time where you going through all these different scenarios and you can't pick one. Pick one, let it roll. Let your contractor be the final pick, because they can tell you what's functionable and what's not. Because you can draw out something in your head, and I'm saying this because we've taken over projects where they've outlined what it's going to be, but when you look at the measurements, you can't fit a toilet right there in this area. So like, we all messed up. So let the contractor tell you, because they can pull out their measuring tape and say, all right, for this bathroom, I need 5 feet. You got 4 feet. We need to extend it.
All right. So the basic answer to the question is experience. You just got to walk enough of these properties. You got to look at enough of these properties. You got to do it enough times to at least give a vision for it. When you start, you just went for 20 minutes.
Wait, I got right there on that right there before you go.
Go.
I don't think anybody is born with it. It just takes repetition. Okay, go.
It's experience.
Yeah.
Key is know the square footage there, have a vision, talk to your contractor, and they'll tell you kind of what's more feasible, because it's not just making it into a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's also taking into consideration the amount of work it's going to take to make it a 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Where those drains are if
Where
you're
the
making that
plumbing's going
bathroom.
to go.
Yeah.
Because, example, we did a house in Hoover, and we made a whole design for a kitchen, but it was concrete floors.
You talking about over budget
So it's
in
all,
the middle of the project.
Yeah, so it's all about continue to do it. Start working that brain muscle of looking at properties. When you go to walk the properties, you're looking at them like, okay, if I had to turn this into a second bathroom, where would I put it? So, and you're never going to have just the answer. As the walls come down, you start to see it different. We done had a vision, all the walls came down and went to a whole new vision.
Whole new vision.
So relying on your contractor, that'll as a newbie, that'll help. Relying on him, but asking him questions, talking to him, and being able to have that conversation. All right.
And the more you walk it, the more you'll see more things. So like if you only walk it 1 or 2 times, you only gonna see it in 1 or 2 ways. But by the time you're on your 20th time walking it, you like, oh, okay, I got this. Yeah, it's this. So just walk it. Even if it's your first property, walk it every day until you get, okay, I feel good about what I'm about to do.
All right. Mr. Jimmy.
Well, I had a question about the building here. When you come to a property and you see something like this, what questions are you going to have to ask for yourself before you can decide whether you can bother with the whole property?
What are you going to do with it?
I was told that you guys were going to just let it be a storage room or storage area. So how do you decide, like, what would be a deal breaker
So
when it comes to that building?
I'm gonna repeat. I'm gonna give you and Mr. Demar answered. Even though we mad and we do this, we gonna have different answers sometimes.
Absolutely.
That's just a part of how we are. That's who we is. When you understand what I'm saying? What determines what we do with this back shed or whatever it is for me? It gonna start with the budget.
It's actually a garage. There's a garage.
It
Opens in the back.
So it's gonna always start with the budget for me. I'm gonna always start from penciling in on paper. If I can make it work, I'm gonna make it work. Now, if I got more budget to do more with it, then I'll consider those options. But for the most part, I'm gonna let the budget tell me what to do with it. If it fit in budget,
It can be whatever you want it to be.
It can be stores.
It can be
I can probably ask everybody out here. We got a different idea on what it can be. I'm gonna leave that idea for whoever buy the house. I'm gonna make it usable. I'm gonna make it secure. I'm gonna make it safe. I'm gonna make it presentable, and go from there. I'm not even gonna put the power back on. It's just gonna be a storage unit for now. And if they want to do something else with it, they'll do something with it.
And the other thing we talked is parcel, this side of it. So
you consider that.
yeah. So it may, depending on how fast we can get a survey, it may not come with the house. It may come with the house.
It's
Can
just
I add something to that? It's funny he said the budget, and you asked about exterior stuff. In this case, it's a shed. Sometimes it's a pool, and all of us in our mind are pools. But when you start doing these properties, you realize the pool really call the dirt people, Vic, and let's fill it in. We gonna fill the pool in and plant, and you go from there.
Nah.
Absolutely.
sisters, damn sure a lot.
All right, follow up question. And one more. The fence. I didn't see anything.
Survey, then we're gonna have to add a fence and block it off. If not, we're gonna repair as needed, clear out those fence lines, and keep it going.
Yeah.
So, if the new buyers want a new fence, we can negotiate that in the budget. But this isn't a $200,000, $300,000 house where every single thing, every nook and cranny is gonna be done. It's gonna be something that resembles what's been selling in the area. So that's so important. Don't overdo the rehab, because if you overdo it and it don't. So always look at what's to rentals, because they can't sell. So don't overdo it, because you're not gonna get it back. All right. So do what you need to do. Do what's selling. Do what's trending, and don't get emotionally attached to it. They're not gonna get some of the things that you're gonna get. They're not gonna get They're not gonna get new siding. Let me say that. They're not gonna get new siding. You may get that in the upper one, but it doesn't. You can't do new siding. But can it feel like a nice house and bring up the value in this area? Absolutely. But it's not gonna be completely. You're not walking into your pre-construct new house. You're not.
Miss Rosie?
The comps aren't there. It's nothing. 1 year later, now out. How would we go about creating a comp system? We've literally watched the video 600,000 times on how to calculate.
It ain't nothing about multifamily.
Do it, but it's
Yes. So the first thing I say with multifamily, they don't really go off of ARV like single family.
Yeah.
They are more rent driven.
Yeah. How much value add are you gonna add to the property? Because that increases the cash flow that you're gonna get, which increases the value.
Yes. Also with multifamily, they don't really stick in this 0.5 mile
Radius.
6 month radius. They will go out 5 miles in a year back. So like we had duplexes in Birmingham are one of the hardest things to come. We was getting a appraisal on a quadplex in Inslee, and he pulled comps from Centerpoint. So multifamily is a little different when it comes to those things that we do. 6.5 mile radius, 6 months. They kind of play by a different set of rules for real.
Yeah, you kind of want
And
to.
I'm gonna tell you, somebody on Facebook to go connect with. If I got any questions, that's who I'm gonna go ask.
Clarence Graham.
Graham.
Okay.
and he's a complete go-giver. Just say, hey, I met the Demarks, they referred me to you. He'll answer whatever you need him to answer. He'll guide you the best he can.
Yeah.
Right.
But you want to really identify your value adds. Value adds are you going to have a garbage area where you're going to pick up garbage? Are you going to take care of the water? Are you going to take care of the cable? Things where everything is, so although it's extra, it's a value add, and it increases the revenue that you're going to get as an owner. So the more revenue increases you get, the more your property's worth versus how much you're not help your bottom line. So make sure they make sense, because that's what increases your cash flow.
I have to say, yeah, it doesn't let me work it. It says read only, so like I can't.
All right.
transfer.
So what you do is you make a copy, because what happened, and it's gonna save into your Google Sheets, and then you name it whatever you want to name it, and then that becomes yours forever. Yep. But if we didn't, then the formulas wouldn't work for everybody, because people will put numbers in the parts that formula is supposed to go, and then it'll be messed up forever.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Eric, I heard? No. All right, so I'm gonna talk numbers a little bit before he come back. So how we like to do our projects is we got an 80-20 kind of formula. We kind of get a head carpenter to do 80% of the work, and that's going to be our painting, our flooring, our demo, our bathrooms. The stuff that he's not going to do is, for the most part, like electrical, plumbing, if we got to do a roof, like the things that we sub out. So for all of the labor, and we got a labor only price, we're going to buy our own material. For all of the labor on this project, for the 80% person, is $14,000. My other guy was trying to charge me like $25,000. So understand that you have to be able to, thousands of dollars start to drop, because in their mind, they're not going to go without work.
Yeah, I would rather have, in their mind, I would rather have consistent work versus I'm working one deal every 3 months or 2 deals a year. Like, if I can't have that work, my team gonna disappear, and now I got to go refine and rebuild the new team.
So that's a huge nugget when you negotiate with contractors. You're not by yourself. All these people is a part of your network, even if you don't know it. So just do that when you're talking to them. All right. Questions?
If this was a different type of area, would you make?
Who want to take a shot at it? Anybody? Anybody? Take. All right, come on. What would your answer be?
Depends on the budget.
90% of the people in this yard, y'all are so smart. Y'all are such good thinkers. Y'all have been the smart people all y'all life. It's not hard, y'all. Like, the numbers tell us what to do. If the numbers that we can rent out here, then we'll follow the numbers. But the numbers are going to lead us. They are going to guide us, and we're going to keep our foot on those numbers' neck at all times.
And Miss Ashley really said when she was answering Miss Rose's question, when she was asking about the multi-unit. You do as many value adds as you can, but sometimes you do things that you think gonna add value that don't add value. So it's kind of the number.
I can tell you from an appraisal, just because you have 2 houses, 20,000 into this, if I'm putting 20,000 into that, because it don't make sense. I'm probably gonna get a $10,000 boost on my appraisal for this. So guess what? I ain't put more than $2,000 into it.
No questions.
I just have a question about the numbers.
Okay.
Because I see you got $95,000 for funding, and I see that just the labor, how you got the scope of the project is $40,005, but y'all leaving like $5,000 for your little, So where's I know you said for the contractor is $14,000, right? So where's that money coming into play? Am I reading it wrong?
So it's in. So how? All right, I'm gonna kind of go another step. When we do our scope of work, we break it up between us a guideline on how much we can pay our contractor for labor. So that 14 is in that big budget, but it's just broke down. So things that he's not doing. We got a separate granite guy. We have a separate guy that's going to come do our roof. We have a separate guy part of the 14 because somebody else is going to do it. But the foundation of it is, and it takes a little more work. Like, just to be total transparent with you, we like to call it becoming an A contractor. And what we mean by that is you got to understand your numbers. You got to be able to control the situation as much as possible. At the end, they still got the final say so. But there's a different conversation between, hey, how much are you going to charge me versus, hey, he's going to tell me $25,000. But if I say, hey, I got a $12,000 budget, he's going to say, all right, let me
do it for 14.
Let me kind of get somewhat close to you. So, but the only way I can be confident to say I'm in the ballpark of that 12, 13, 14,000 is because I broke my numbers down and I understand how much I'm gonna spend on material. That's how much I can give for labor.
So when Tonio says breaking it down between material and labor, go measuring all your rooms. How much flooring am I gonna need? How much is flooring costing? Okay, what I need? What counter to place in all my doors throughout the house? Okay, well, I need to put how many doors am I gonna need, because I can't expect to know back out my materials. So if you can back out your materials, there's something that's gonna go haywire and you spending unnecessary money. So find out from okay, plumber, how much am I gonna need for materials and labor? Electrician, what am I gonna need for materials and labor? Because their jobs are so specific, you're not gonna be able to count that. Drywall, am I replacing drywall? How many sheets am I gonna need? Am I gonna need 1/2, 1/4? Like, what type of drywall am I gonna need? Go budget for it. And now that you have is 15,000, 16,000, whatever it is for labor. The labor price if you don't know how much your materials cost, because you might think you done negotiated something. You done negotiated 21,000 and all you can afford is 14. So now you still in the red and you ain't even start.
Two things I want to say. One thing is, this is our way of doing it. And we made a decision. You're not going to find as many deals that way.
Yeah.
Your number is going to be higher. A general contractor is probably going to charge me 60 for this house. But at 60, my numbers don't work. So we do 1 or 2 deals a year. Find you a general contractor. He's going to charge you a little bit more
and go at it
and be done.
Yeah.
But if you are trying to build, if you're trying to do multiple projects, if you're trying to go from 0 to 5 fast, learn this part. A lot of people just go, I got to find a house. I got to find a house. I got to find a house. Oh, you better find your contractor too. That contractor is just as important as that house.
It's probably more important, because you can find a deal all you want, but if that number don't support it, you just stuck with that deal.
And it's not a deal.
It's not a deal. And I'm saying that because literally we were having that conversation yesterday where a young lady was just buying houses and she can't do nothing with it.
Yep. So find that contractor, network, connect with them, as many as you can. Put some time into that part also. All right.
Look, I know you don't like paying contractors up front, but like when you electrical, your plumbing, a couple other things, they have to. You don't know what to go by, so
make sure you keep your leverage at the end of the day. You don't want to give them 50% and they ain't even do 10% of the work. So you want to keep your leverage. I like to be at no more than 30% up front. If they're getting labor and material, if they got to pull a permit and they're getting some materials to start. But I don't want to over leverage myself.
Here he needed, and he called me, and I paid him over the phone. Did it that way, and then they delivered the stuff out there. And after they did half the work, then I paid him some of the money.
That's a great strategy. That's exactly how we would recommend you do it. And
set up your pro account at Home Depot.
Set up your pro account so you can track it and see what they bought.
Yesterday, was it yesterday?
The best, when you do labor and material, expect to get them some money up front. That's just kind of how it works. You can't pull it up because I ain't gave him no money to start working yet. But he busting his backside to get to that first draw. He know what his first draw looked like.
Right.
So that's keeping your leverage. Once you lose your leverage, 85% of the time, you're not gonna get what you want. That's just kind of how contractors work. And I ain't gonna say I love them. I like them sometimes, but contractors, they chase the dollar. They chasing the 50% here, the 50% here, the 50% there. That's just kind of how that's how their people of,
Their
what's that,
coaches.
ancestors, what you call them?
Their coaches.
Their coaches are the people that they was under. That's how they was taught. To chase wherever that money at, you chasing that money. And you'll kind of clean up what you done took the money from later.
But and I think that also starts to happen too when it comes to deals. Sometimes as investors, we start to chase, when's that next deal? Where's that next deal? And then before you know it, you over leverage and you don't even know. You got more deals than you got time to even do them. So it's a balance, like, damn, but just work on being balanced.
Another question. Red. So
You mentioned something about the draw. Can you kind of explain how that works?
yes. So when we say draw can basically mean two different things. With the lenders, they give you the money to buy the house, and as you complete the work, they reimburse you what was done. So that's your draw process. With the contractor, I also have a draw process.
Right.
And my draw process basically is going to mirror how I'm doing the draws with the lender. I create those draws with the lender. I can have one draw or 5 draws. You get back to the office. But he has 3 draws. Off the top of my head, his first draw is demoing, knocking out that back door, because we didn't know what that looked like.
Oh, okay.
He's got a frame up for the bathroom and closet, and he's got to run the plumbing. That's his first draw. His total budget is $14,000. We took 10%, was $1,400 to do for punching and stuff, and then we broke the other 3 draws up evenly. So his first draw will be like $4,200, and then he got steps after that he got to complete for the second draw, then the third draw. Once we broke it up, we give it to him and say, okay, do you want to move anything? Because different contractors got different people. Right. Like sometimes if he started a project and he know he gonna use a electrician, you want to send it to him.
Right.
He busy at properties. He busy trying to find the next job.
Yeah, and don't expect your contractors, if they don't show up, that's probably because they working on the deal, and you should be happy about that. So don't like bug them and be like, well, we were scheduled to do this. They got a job, they making money, they trying to make money. Also, don't expect them to be so good with spreadsheets, Microsoft Word. Like, don't have those expectations. That's why you become the A contractor. Give it to them and tell them, okay, here go your list. Tell me what we working with, or leave the number area blank. Let them write in. Exterior paint. Yeah, I can do that for $3,000. Yeah, I can. But you tell them, I need you to send it back to me. The person that's gonna send it back to you is the A contractor, but that come with a price. And just be prepared to pay it.
And we can only tell you from experience, like that contractor that can send you back that estimate in 24
hours,
you ain't gonna like it.
No.
Cause somebody gotta pay for that.
Yeah, they got a team in place.
Hold on. I see somebody give me a Rosa, agree?
I'm just saying, someone is creating
somebody. Yeah.
Somebody, you gotta pay for that type of stuff. So that contractor who good with his hands, that got built in the Excel sheet than they are. You got the time.
You already got most of y'all already got the template. If you one of our students, you got the template. So all you got to do is back out the numbers.
Yeah.
Go.
And it cuts down thousands and thousands